Welcome back to Be Wise podcast. I'm your host, Belize, and today I'm super excited for the guest that we have today. She's a powerhouse and she's a close friend, actually, and I'm so honored to have her here. Today's topic is all about building hope, but we're going to focus on Shenge organization. I know you're curious what is Shenge, but I would love Alice to talk more about it. And welcome to Be Wise. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Belize. Be wise. Love what you're doing. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about yourself for people that don't know what you do and basically why you started what you do.
So my name is Alice Idiro. I am the president and co-founder of Shenge Children Organization. Shenge is a Kinyarwanda word which is a term of endearment when you're talking to a child or to someone that you love and adore. Just say Mama Shenge. So I started this with two partners, or co-founders, who started this in 2018. So this is our 7th year. And we came from different backgrounds, but we were all Christians. And so we had this in common that we felt like this was our calling to give back, but also to take care of a community of people who are usually marginalized, stigmatized, but there's also not so much awareness around how they can be supported, particularly in Africa. And when I was in university, I had a chance to, my part-time job, I worked in care homes and organizations that took care of children with disabilities. And so I was exposed to the kinds of materials, resources, equipment that is available for people with disabilities in the West, and also what more can be done to give them a dignified life. And my partners also had shared feelings around this. And so we came together and said, let's do something in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Particularly focusing on children, older people. It can be tough to intervene, but when you help a child from the start, then sometimes it's easier or possible to give them a better livelihood growing up.
I'm so proud of what you've come up with. To be honest, I love that I kind of share the same vision with you. On my birthday this year, I started a fundraising and we went and helped kids and stuff. And then this year, when we met, I was wondering, what can I do at the end of the year? And guess what? We're here and we're going to learn more about the mission, the vision, and how we can all become part of this great movement that you have started. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
But to begin with, what is the mission and vision for Shenge currently?
Right. So what we do, we provide intervention in 3 areas. So we give these children education, so those that have learning capacity, and then we also give them healthcare in form of mutuelle de santé or medical insurance for them and their families annually, as well as, or more concretely, physiotherapy services, because out of 48 children that come to the school, 30 of them have physical impairments. And so we give them physiotherapy services all through the week. And also, thirdly, we empower them and their lives through advocacy by creating awareness around them, who they are, how they can be taken care of. But that also includes giving vocational training to their parents, because when we support these children, we also have to go holistically or approach it from a systematic approach, in the sense of we support their parents. If we can elevate them out of poverty, then the livelihoods of these children is also in return improved.
Honestly, that's amazing. But I would want to know, what are the key challenges that some of these kids, actually, to run it back, how many of these kids are there right now in the organization that you're helping?
Right. So our staff the other day actually told us that we were just doing some inventory. We realized that since we started, we've supported and helped 110 children, that's including the alumni, but also the ones that we have at the moment. So enrolled in the school program right now, we have 48 children, and we have 12 others that graduated from our program into mainstream schools. So they're now performing, doing amazing in regular schools, if you like to call it that. But on a day-to-day basis in our school, we have 48.
That's a huge milestone. 12 of them. What does that mean to their future?
So that means the 12, they came to us with, when they were still heavily dependent on their parents. And these are 10-year-olds, 13, 14-year-olds,
okay,
who lacked social skills, confidence, had never been to school because We also help vulnerable families that really live on $2 a day or $1 a day. And these are families, typically, they usually have about 5 children. So you can imagine that their means are very low. And typically in rural areas, when the parents realize their kids have disabilities, they just decide that this one cannot even go to school. And so, and to an extent, that's true in a sense that they have to go to a special needs school or that gives them the special needs education. And so what we've done with these children, the 12, is that we've given them the education that's relevant to them, and we've supported them and uplifted them to a point that they can be able to participate in a regular school and learn to the pace of others. And we also still provide support to their teachers in the schools they've gone to. We regularly support their teachers on how to train them to continue to teach them in a way that's relevant to them and their specific needs.
I think there's no greater feeling than seeing your work come to fruition in terms of starting with a kid, having them come with disabilities, and you have worked with them over time. I'm sure it's not easy, but the heart of it is what matters and what keeps you going. And then now they've graduated.
Yes.
But I would want to know, could you share a story or two of some of these kids, their transitions, what they were not able to do and now what they're capable of doing?
Sure. I like that you asked that because sometimes people tell us, 12 is a small number, 48 is a small number, but we usually say that the effort it takes to train one child with disabilities or with special needs is equal, if we were to count a ratio, what a normal teacher, one teacher takes to teach a class of 46 kids in a special needs setting. It's the ratio that's actually okay or good enough is one teacher per 3 students, right? Because it takes so much and to take them all on the same pace because they're all they're on a different spectrum, they're on different stages of their disabilities, and so it needs a heavy focus. And so for us, that's why we also we keep the numbers small just so we give them that focused training, but also resources. That's what the resources allow us to. Now, in terms of stories, we have one child, he's called Joshua. I have consent to share this from their parents. So he was hidden from society or kept in his home for 10 years. When he joined us in 2021, it was his first time to come out of the home.
So you're trying to say he had not seen the sun.
He had never stepped out. And so because of not seeing the sun, not being exposed to natural light, not being out of the home, he had become partially blind. And so he had also physical impairment in form of cerebral palsy and the development of the body. And so he was bent backward and he had to be cushioned all the time. And so he could not even, out of 3 spoons that you would feed him, like one half would actually go down because with a neck bend, most of the food would come back out. So he was partially blind, he deformed, and also could not eat. So he was malnourished on top of all of that. So within 2 months of being with us, Joshua's eyes were big and bright and open. He has gorgeous eyes. I had ever seen them. He had become partially blind because of now stepping out, coming to the school, having to interact with other people. He didn't even have social skills. He didn't know how to interact with others because he had been hidden for 10 years. And so now he sees, with 2 months of therapy, he started to sit upright. He still has some deformities that we may never be able to do anything about, but he's able to sit. He sits upright. He can eat all the food on his plate and it all goes down. And so for us, that's a huge milestone. And sometimes to see that much progress in one child can take 2, 3, 4 years. So it's a very, very long journey for some of them, or for us as well, as we do that work. It takes a lot of patience. It takes grit. It takes keeping on, basically, and not giving up. That's Joshua. We also have Sandrine, who joined us when she couldn't sit, couldn't walk. And now Sandrine, she was also the last one of 11 children, and their parents lost 9, and then only 2 of them were surviving. One of them was Sandrine, and she also had the development of the body, could not sit, and her parents are elderly. Her mom is 70, the dad is like 75. And so they had to carry her on their back. But she's been with us for 5 years, and that therapy for her has been heavy for those 5 years. But now she's able to sit. Now she makes small movements with a walking frame, but she's independent in the sense that her mom does not have to be by her side 24/7 to make sure that she sits her out. She turns her to the side, because when someone is immobile, then you have to keep tilting them and turning them just so they can have movement in the different parts of their body. So for us, that's long progress. It's still so long to see even minuscule progress. But that's huge. About
Yes, yes.
it's that small change you're able to give the one child, to give them a more decent living, a more independent living, and so on. Yes,
I think that's amazing. Honestly, when I heard the story of this too, we have the consent to put the pictures, so I'll put the pictures here. As you can see, the work was done in such a short time. So 2 months is incredible. I really thought when I saw the pictures it was like a year or something, but I think what you have built is good. What you have built is impactful. So yes, I wanted to know, you as Alice, what are the main challenges you have faced? Because I know what you're building is impeccable. It's huge. And at the end of the day, like we know here in BWise, we stand for empowerment, excelling, and helping people be better. But what you do is even to another level. But I can imagine the toll that comes with it. What are some of the challenges you have faced, and how can people help you and support you to make this more of a community so that we're all being a part of a great initiative you've started?
Yeah. The challenges are many on the part of Shenge as an organization, but also the families that we support. So the specific category of families that we support, when we still had Ubudehe levels, socioeconomic classes, they're in the lowest level. And so, and these are typically families that will have a mother and 5 children. And most of the time when the dads realize that, okay, on top of extreme poverty, now we have an extra child with extra healthcare needs, most of them walk away. That has led to a lot of deaths. We've lost about 6 children that have died in their families because their parents are not able to feed them. And sometimes the breakfast meal that we provide at Shenge is the only meal they will ever go with. And so sometimes when we even break off for holidays, we don't break off for too long, longer than 2 weeks, because we know that they struggle to even have a meal per day. So the extreme poverty in the families, the malnutrition that these children usually have, which leads to exacerbated healthcare conditions. And then also resources for ourselves as Shenge, as I mentioned, we don't have a lot of capacity right now to be able to take on many children. We've had to turn away so many. We have a very long waiting list that whenever a child graduates or one passes away, that's the only time we're able to take in a new one. So it requires a lot of resources to run this kind of organization, to support these families, to equip them with skills as well. So we do a lot of vocational training, as I mentioned, to equip the moms with some skills that can generate income for them and lift them out of poverty, so that they are not just reliant on the organization to give them support, but also they can generate income for their families.
Oh, so it's not just about the children, even their families as well.
Yes. So we started vocational training for the moms, where they come every week and learn how to weave baskets. And so these baskets, whatever they're able to weave, we've been trying to get a market where we can sell these. My partner who lives in the UK comes and collects a bunch of them and goes and sells them in the UK. Yeah. So really we're trying to empower, like I said, holistically, not just the children, but also their environment, their ecosystem. And then the other thing is also awareness. A lot of people in our community still don't understand disabilities. They don't know how to treat people with disabilities. And so you find that they're typically discriminated when it goes to rural areas with people who are ignorant or just unaware of disabilities. You find that there's also a lot of stigmatization, where they say they're either bewitched.
Oh dear.
And basically we have to go as basic as teaching them this is a medical condition.
Right.
It's a health condition. It's normal. It can happen to anyone. It can be you, it can be me, it can be my child or whatever. So we have to do a lot of training and constant teaching. We also offer counseling for the parents, because they go through a lot, and it's a lot to experience poverty and having your kids suffering. And then there's this one that you just see there's nothing you can do for them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a whole ecosystem of problems, but when you solve one or two, then there's some level of change that you can see all around. Yes.
So you touched on rural areas, specifically in Rwanda. Are there any common problems that you have seen that these children they have in common, basically?
Yeah.
That are challenges, of course.
So we don't have a lot of special needs education kind of schools in Rwanda.
Yeah.
So that also goes with, parents will typically say, my child has disabilities, so they just have to stay home. There's nothing I can do for them. So a lot of them are uneducated. These kids don't have an opportunity to go to school. And if you do find those schools, they're extremely expensive. Shenge is free of charge. We don't charge anything to these families, but that also means that we have to constantly have our finances being sponsored or boosted in other ways. So affording schools, but also lack of such schools and programs for the families, and lack of understanding is a huge one, because if a lot of families understood how to treat and support these kids, a lot of these kids actually, even with the ones of mental disabilities, a lot of them can actually still be helped. And autistic people are some of the most genius people we have on earth. They developed trains, they developed heavily mechanical things, right? And so if they're supported from a young age, if there is awareness on how they can be supported, programs, materials, resources that are available for them, these are people like us,
Right.
basically. So they would have better opportunities. But kids with disabilities have a higher likelihood to drop out of school, to never be in school, to never have a job, to never participate in economic activities. And so then when you take it to rural areas where there is poverty, where there's a lack of education on the parents' part and then them, so it's just a mesh. Yes.
But I think I think that shouldn't discourage you from a perspective of a co-founder. I think it should propel you to create awareness, which is what we're doing here, and having a community. And I'm sure there's so many people that just are not aware of this thing. But I would want you to touch on the example you gave me last time regarding how much 15,000 Rwandan francs, which is equivalent to like $10, can change a child's life.
So medical insurance for an individual mutuelle de santé is 3,000 francs per year. And so usually on average, these families have 5 members, which is equal to 15,000 francs for a family. And you and I can spend this on coffee, right? We can spend it on, I don't know, a glass of something. And so mutuelle de santé is 15,000 on average for these families. So if you multiply that by the 48 families that we have, you're able to change an entire family's life. And then we also had a child who had hydrocephalus, which is the continuous growth of the head, of her head kept growing and expanding. And basically she needed surgery to be able to fetch out that water and also help her to shrink her head, because the farther it expands, the more headaches and constant migraines she has. So for 1 year, the family could not afford surgery for her. And guess how much it was? 30,000 Rwandan francs.
That's about $20.
$20.
Imagine.
Right?
Yeah.
So when when we were at the school and I had taken a friend, and then they told us, my friend just dished it out of her pocket and she was like, 30,000 francs?
Yeah.
This is what someone is missing to have surgery for an entire year.
Yeah.
And so she paid that money very quickly. The following week, she went to the hospital, she had her surgery. All good now. So it's really, people fear to support such causes because they think, if I have to give back, it has to be in millions, it has to be in hundreds of thousands. But if you come to us, we'll show you how you can make impact with some of that money. $15, I mean, as low as $10, $15, $30. And we've actually, at Shenge, we've packaged it in a way that for $65 every month, if you supported us and sponsored a child for $65 every month, then we are able to sustain our operations and our support for an entire year. If we got $65 per child per month, then we would be able to...
For an entire year.
Yes.
I think that's huge. And I want to focus on that. Sometimes we really sit and we're young people, we're growing, we're old, different ages we're in, but we waste money. But when you explain that, I was like, I just wanted to focus on that part and say, I think all of us as human beings, the main thing should be impact. Because all these life things we do, yes, it's material, it's life, but there's nothing greater than having impact on someone's life and seeing this, and in such a short time. So I think if you're listening, wherever you're listening from, it's best to join such a movement, such an organization, and impact someone's life through a small contribution that you spend every other day, that you step out, you're buying small things that are really not important, but that impact can go further. I personally believe blessings come from it. And the blessing, of course, the main one is seeing you change someone's life. But just for upcoming, where we stand right now, I know there's a Christmas event that you're organizing.
Yes.
Could you tell us what it's about and how you came up with it, what inspired you, the dates, and what we should expect, and of course, how we can be part of it?
Awesome. So we have our Christmas party on 21st of December, which is going to be a Saturday, and we'll depart from Kigali around 8 a.m., get to Burera, which is where we're located. It's just a 20-minute drive from Musanze Center. And so the idea is that we want to give these children a normal living. We want to give them, as I said, most of them are excluded from society. So they don't even know how to interact with the next person sitting next to them. So to say a Christmas party, most of them have never heard of this. I've never had a chance to be exposed to anything like that. And so every year we hold a Christmas party and we partner with different people. This year we are lucky that Be Wise has partnered with us. They're supporting alongside Eden Care and also Rotary Club Kivu Virunga, all supporting us to throw this Christmas party. We will have lots of food, games, and also we will take in donations that are non-cash. So if you want to give cash, you're welcome to, but the non-cash donations also, we take in books, clothes, both for the kids and also their family. As I mentioned, they experience a lot of poverty, and so clothing even for their parents is okay. So books, clothes, toys, anything that you really have. But I have to emphasize that we do not take in worn out things. Yeah. Like I said, decency and dignified life is what we focus on. And so we do not give them something that just because my dress is torn and ripped or something, then I give that away. So we take in decent things. So even when people bring their stuff in, we still have to filter through and look at what's decent enough to give. Yeah. And so I would encourage that whoever would want to give, please bring us decent things, not just the super torn and ripped stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to the details on how to be part of this, I would want to touch on something about yourself. What keeps you going and not give up on this vision? Because I know it's a bumpy road. You're going to get discouraged. Yeah. Sometimes you might feel like people don't understand what you're working on, but what keeps you going?
Honestly, I've really told people that almost every other month I'm tempted to just quit. Mm-hmm. Because it takes a toll on you. This is an emotionally demanding initiative.
Can you imagine?
When we've had kids that pass away, I've literally sat down and thought, what am I even doing? If they still pass away with whatever I'm trying to do, what am I doing, wasting my time? And then last year, for the first time, we ran out of resources of our donations completely, and we had to shut down the entire summer, which was really heartbreaking because for us, we know that 2 weeks of a break, these kids always come back when they've deteriorated, especially the ones with physical impairments. And so when resources kind of stop, when you keep chasing, keep asking for support and it's not coming, and when you see these families keep on suffering, honestly, that discourages me a lot. But what keeps me going is when I have partners like BY that come up, and when I see someone that believes in what we're doing, when I see the progress of the one child that's able to graduate, one of the kids one of the first cohort that graduated from our program and went into a mainstream school, two of them, one became the first in class, the other one became the second in class. These are kids that had never gone to school until they came to Shenge. Yes. These are kids that had never known how to speak, how to write their names. And now they go into school and become the first, the second. That for me is like, those are the stories that I hold so dear to my heart, that encourage me so much. When I see a child that has been unable to walk for years and suddenly they're making even that slight movement, those are the things that encourage me. But I'll say that having partners, people that come on board and also just say, here, let me give you a push to go take you another 6 months. So yeah, it's a lot of things. Again, as I said, we also are a Christian organization, so prayer does help a lot. And I feel like every single time I've been ready to give up, God has sent us the right help.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Don't give up. I think it's amazing what you're doing. It came at the right time that I was imagining. I'm like, why aren't there things that we can push that can help kids, innocent life, talent that is hidden, them becoming the first? That's incredible. But I want to urge you, wherever you're listening from, to try join this community because it's long term. It's a small thing, but that can go far. I would want also for you to touch on how can someone get more information to begin with, how to be part of it, and also how to support.
Okay. You can visit any of our social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and IG, Instagram. So at Shenge Co RW. So that's Shenge Children Organization RW. That's what it stands for. You can also visit our website, which is www.shenge.org. And I think Belize will put
we'll put it down here.
Yes, we'll put that. You can also, if you want to give, we have a MOMO code that will also be pasted at the bottom of this video. And yeah, just reach out to us. You can also write to us on email and let us know how you would like to contribute or partner, and we'll be more than happy to have you on board. And the biggest thing we love to do is to take people to Rudera to actually see these children. Because until you see them and until you see the work that we're doing, it's hard for you to even understand what the gravity of what it is that we're dealing with.
When I visited your website, I think I got a glimpse of what you're doing. So in case you're not able to visit, I think visiting your platforms is good. I urge you to contribute, and I urge you to be a part of this because it's beautiful seeing this kid's life transform by just doing one of the littlest things, spending time, contributing things you don't use at home even that are just lying there. The books of the grown kids, the clothes that are folded in the closet, that goes way far for these kids. Alice, I want to thank you so much for being here. I just want to commend you for what you're doing and wishing you all the best. Keep going and don't give up. And of course, us as BYs, we're behind you, and bless your soul for this.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and thank you to all the listeners that are going to subscribe to support us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a good day. We'll catch you on the next episode, only on BY's podcast.